Hey guys, this is Haley from whatonrabbits.com, and in today's video I'm going to be tackling one of the most common questions asked on my YouTube channel, and that is how to convince your parents to let your rabbit live indoors. This question is asked all the time, and a lot of my followers are still kids, which means they are still living in their parents' homes and have to follow their parents' rules. A lot of the times parents don't allow rabbits to live inside because honestly, when they were kids, rabbits weren't thought of as house pets. They were farm animals. That's just kind of how society viewed them. But in the past 20 or more years, there's been so much research that have gone into house rabbits, and they have found that rabbits live happier, healthier, longer lives indoors, and they make really great indoor house pets. So I'm just gonna give you guys some tips on how to convince your parents to let your rabbits live indoors, because rabbits ultimately are healthier and happier inside. So first things first, right off the bat, I just wanna mention that you need to make sure you are respecting your parents. You are still their kid, you still live under their roof, which means you do have to respect their wishes. And secondly, this video is not meant for people who don't currently have rabbits. Don't use this video as a way to convince your parents to get your rabbit inside after you got your rabbit. If your parents say, no, I do not want this rabbit inside, and you currently don't have a rabbit, don't get a rabbit. It is irresponsible to get a pet of any kind and know that you cannot care for them properly. Whether that be financially, time commitment, anything, or having them live indoors versus outdoors. If you know that you cannot provide the proper care for your rabbit, do not get a rabbit. Because even though I am making this video for people who do have bunnies already, it doesn't always work. Your parents aren't always going to be able to be convinced to let your rabbits live inside. So it's irresponsible to get a rabbit thinking you can later on convince them to bring them inside, when ultimately that's not always the case. I also want to mention that I was in this position before. I was 12 years old when I got my first bunny, Mocha, and I had never heard of house rabbits before. I didn't do any research before getting a rabbit, which I highly, strongly recommend you don't do, but I did it, and that's part of the reason I made this channel, so that people don't make the same mistakes I did. However, I was able to convince my parents to let my rabbits live inside, and I am so grateful that they allowed me to do so, as honestly, it changed my life for the better. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get into this video. So the first way to convince your parents to let your rabbit live inside is to educate them. Educate them on the dangers of your rabbit living outside. If you guys don't know the dangers of rabbits living outside, go ahead and hit the iCard up above. I have a video all about rabbits living / playing outside and the different dangers there are that come with that. Next, you're gonna wanna ask them why they don't want the rabbit inside. If you don't know the reason behind their decision, you won't know the fears and the myths that they are believing, and ultimately the reason they are not letting your rabbit live inside. A lot of the times the reason your parents say no is that they have a lot of myths or fears or beliefs that they believe about rabbits, but this is the chance that you have to educate them and to prove those myths wrong, so that your parents can actually see that rabbits make really great indoor pets. So after your parents have told you the reasonings behind their decision, this is your time to educate them and to prove those myths wrong. The most common myth is that rabbits stink. This myth is not true. If you go ahead and look in the iCard, I will have a video up there that I just recently made on do rabbits smell, and I go over all the different points on how a rabbit could potentially smell, how to avoid them, all of that stuff. Basically, if your rabbit's spayed or neutered, they shouldn't have any smell at all. The only smell you're gonna have is from the hay or from the type of litter that you use. But if you're cleaning properly and all that stuff, rabbits honestly don't smell. The second thing a lot of people say is that rabbits are messy. So this statement is actually true. Rabbits can be very messy. However, there's a lot of ways to prevent this, and ultimately it is up to you, and it is your responsibility to keep up and clean up after them. So as long as you're tidying up every single day, they really shouldn't be that much of a mess. The next thing that kind of goes along with that is litter box training. A lot of people don't know that rabbits can actually be litter trained, and as long as your rabbit is spayed or neutered, litter training isn't that difficult, and a lot of rabbits pick it up quite easily. I will mention that unlike cats, rabbits are not 100% perfect at litter training. I have met rabbits and I have had rabbits who are 100% perfect at litter training, but then I've also had rabbits who aren't always 100% perfect at litter training. It depends a lot on the rabbit's individual personality, but Some rabbits can be completely perfect with having one litter box and being free roam an entire house and never have accidents, whereas other rabbits do struggle a little bit more. So if you do a lot of research on litter training and how to make sure your rabbit is litter trained, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. You can also add more litter boxes throughout the area to help your rabbit use the litter box versus the floor. And also, a lot of the times when my rabbits have accidents, it's mainly just poop, and mainly it's because it gets stuck to their feet when they hop out of the litter box and it kind of goes flying. A next point is that they are destructive and they will destroy things. So yes, this is also true. The way rabbits play is by destroying things. So like cats play chasing strings or balls, dogs play fetch. Rabbits like to destroy things. That's what they enjoy doing, as that is their nature. But with proper bunny proofing and proper stimulation, these things can be avoided. The next thing people say is that they take up too much space. But honestly, if you're the one who has the rabbit should be going in your bedroom. So honestly, your parents don't have to have it out in the middle of their living room, in the middle of the house. If it's your bunny, it could go in your room. There are lots of ways to get creative to create a bunny space in your bedroom. You can have a loft bed with a nice pen underneath. If your room is very bunny-proofed, you can have them free roam depending on your parents' rules. There's a lot of ways that you can have rabbits in your house without it taking up a ginormous space. Not everyone needs a huge bunny room like I have. I used to have my bunnies in my bedroom, and that's how I had them for years. Another thing people say a lot is that they already have cats or dogs in the home. And this one seems a little bit odd to me because I know so many people who have cats and dogs, or one or the other, in their home, and also have bunnies. Like, this honestly isn't that big of a deal. The one precaution is if you do have a dog that is very high prey driven, but I know so many people who have dogs and rabbits. As long as your rabbit is like in your bedroom and you keep the door closed, you have a baby gate or something like that, there shouldn't be that much of an issue, especially if your dog is well trained or, you know, good around other animals. Another thing is cats. I find this one kind of funny because I've grown up with cats my entire life. At one point, I've had 5 cats while I had rabbits, and I've never had an issue. I just kept them in my room, I kept the door closed, and kept the cats away. I've never had an issue. I also know some people whose cats are completely fine around rabbits, like they don't have any sort of aggression towards them or playfulness. My cats personally are very playful, so they do try to play with the bunnies, and the bunnies do not like that, so I keep my cats separate from my rabbits. Honestly, this isn't that big of a deal. People do it all the time. As long as you take the safety precautions, there's no issues. The next one is rabbits are farm animals or they just belong outside. This one gets me. Like, who came up with that? Like, why? Rabbits are domesticated. They are not the European rabbits who live wildly outside. They've been domesticated to the point where they do not have survival instincts. They need to be taken care of. You don't throw your pet dog outside and just go, be free. Hope you survive. I mean, maybe you do. But in that instinct, you need to be having a whole nother conversation. So, this is so not true. Like I mentioned earlier, in the past 20 plus years, so much research has been gone into rabbits, especially with their veterinary advancements we've had with pet rabbits, but just so much in their care and what standards should be done. I just don't understand this one. Like, yeah, maybe 50 years ago, people didn't understand that rabbits could be inside, but this is 2019. Like, in the last 20 plus years, they've become increasingly more common to be house pets. They're very smart, they're very intelligent, and honestly, if your parents are giving you this as their reason, try to question them more. Most often when they're giving you, they're just farm animals, they have other myths or fears or beliefs underneath that they're not telling you. Like, they believe, oh, rabbits are stinky and smelly and messy, they must be farm animals. Those statements aren't true, so you need to kind of dig deeper to feel where they're coming from. Fur. This one gets me. Like, why? So some people are really bothered by fur. Honestly, I have never been bothered by fur. I mean, I grew up with 5 cats. I still have cats. I have 3 rabbits. Like, I have fur everywhere and I don't care. But honestly, like, there are ways to go about it. Like, first of all, if you don't have 3 cats and 3 rabbits, you are not gonna have the amount of fur that I have in my home. Secondly, there's these awesome things called lint rollers that work really well. I don't know, honestly, if you're vacuuming often, if you're using lint rollers when you need them, like, I don't know. I don't have an issue with it, but I do know a lot of people do have issues with fur. The next one is allergies to the rabbit or to the hay. So this can be quite common. A lot of people who are allergic to cats can also be almost more allergic to rabbits. So one thing is that if you know beforehand, before getting a rabbit, that someone in the house has allergies, don't get a rabbit. Like, wait until you are able to move out and, you know, do your own thing. But I also have a lot of friends who are allergic to their pets, and they live completely fine lives with their pets in their home. So I have some friends who are allergic to their rabbits or their other small animals, and as long as they like wash their hands after they touch the rabbit, they have no issues whatsoever. Obviously, this is different than people who have extreme allergies where, you know, their throat starts closing or, you know, other things like that. But people with milder allergies tend to not have an issue if the rabbits are kept in a closed room away from them. They don't go in there, they don't touch the bunny. So that could be an option for people with more milder allergies. Another thing is allergies to hay. Allergies to hay are very, very, very common. A lot of people don't even know they're allergic to hay until all of a sudden they're around it and they're like, oh, I can't breathe very well. So a good option for that is to just use a different type of hay. Rabbits can eat any type of grass hay, so orchard grass is a really good substitute. It's way less dusty than Timothy hay, and a lot of people who are allergic to Timothy hay don't have issues with orchard grass. I have a friend who has like really bad asthma and allergies, and she uses orchard grass and doesn't have an issue, but if someone has Timothy hay in her house, she can immediately like feel sick. So changing the type of hay is a really good option for people with hay allergies. And lastly, after you have educated your parents as much as you can, ask to do a trial run. So ask if you can just do a week or like a month-long trial of your rabbit living in your room. And during that time, you know, just keep cleaning up after your rabbit, showing that you are very responsible. And after that time, you guys can have a discussion on if this could be a permanent solution. So that's basically it for this video. I hope these tips have helped you. Obviously, you still need to respect your parents' wishes, and this doesn't always work. That's why I don't recommend rabbits as pets for children if their parents aren't 100% on board, because it's honestly really hard as a child to financially support the proper care for a rabbit, to house them properly, to do all of that stuff if your parents aren't on board. But a lot of my viewers already have bunnies and they want to provide the best care possible for them, and that's why I made this video. I wanted to help those people who already have pet rabbits and are already trying to better their lives and make their rabbits' lives as best as possible. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to check out the videos I mentioned in this video. And don't forget that I also have a t-shirt up for sale. It'll be linked at the end of this video as well as down in the description. It's super cute. I wear it all the time. It's super comfy. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you very soon on a new one. Bye! Why do I always slap things? Like, oh, now I showed that I use notes. My secret.